él por tal vez un año. Entonces yo empiezo a pelear ya títulos mundiales, todo, y ocupaba sparring y Bronco ahí por medio de Juan Lugo, que es mi manoplero. No, él movía a Bronco también y empezaba, no, pues vamos a contratar a Bronco. Y sí, lo llevaba, me ayudaba. Entonces empezamos a convivir y así hubo una oportunidad que lo llevé a Tijuana también de sparring conmigo. Y él siempre bien buena persona. Sí, campeón, vamos y órale. Entonces el hecho de que ahora esté trascendiendo, que esté alcanzando también sus metas y todo, pues a mí me da mucho gusto, pues yo lo conozco, yo sé de dónde viene Bronco, él sabe de dónde vengo yo y es compañerismo, yo lo veo y digo, qué bien, gracias Dios por hacer que el muchacho también encuentre sus metas o las esté consiguiendo. Y me da mucho gusto, se presenta la pelea cerca de la casa y dije, no, pues no tengo que perderla, voy. Aparte pelear con San Martín, un muchacho con el que yo también peleé, para mí era intrigante ver cómo lo hacía. Yo sabía que iba a ganar, se lo dije, le digo, hey, solamente cuídate poquito porque él soporta muchos golpes, no soportó los de él, obviamente, ¿no? Entonces yo dije, te va a ir muy bien, solamente hay que trabajar bien, ¿no? Y él estaba muy tranquilo, él sabe de su trabajo y pues me dio mucho gusto que haya ganado. Yo creo que es un rival muy fuerte. Posiblemente, como está ostentando las mismas divisiones, posiblemente se pueda presentar con él más adelante. Y yo súper encantado, él me conoce, yo lo conozco y yo creo que es de las peleas que todo México puede anhelar. Es complicado saber quién puede ganar, solamente nos queda cada quien seguir su camino y más adelante pues ya Dios vamos a ver qué depara para nosotros.
Ya. Creo que ya. Ya.
Ok.
Se me enredó algo por acá. Una de las cosas que la gente tal vez no sabe es, dijiste algo como muy pasajero. Yo sé de dónde viene Bronco y él sabe de dónde vengo yo. Mucha gente no lo sabe.
No.
¿Por qué no nos das una pequeña imagen de dónde vienes?
Yo crezco con una familia boxística, mis dos hermanos boxean y todo. Yo soy de muy niño, soy muy hiperactivo, ¿sabes?
No me he dado cuenta.
Terco, necio, entonces imparable. Entonces empiezo a entrenar, empiezo a hacer mi vida boxística de la mano con la escuela. De repente dejo la escuela, empiezo a trabajar en la construcción, albañil en la casa, en el pueblo es los famosos albañiles. Empiezo a trabajar, eran días de correr temprano porque ya boxeaba, ya tenía yo un poco de nivel y era como correr temprano, llegar, pararse a las 6 a correr, 5:30, llegar, desayunar e irme al trabajo y luego regresar a las 5 del trabajo y irme a entrenar. O sea, era muy difícil, pero era bonito. Porque todo el tiempo andaba ocupado y es como que...
Y te sacó de las calles.
Sí, completamente. Yo no, o sea, fui como muy necio, muy desastroso, pero naturalmente no fui vicioso, gracias a Dios. No agarré.
Travieso.
Sí, claro, necio, pero así travieso con un buen sentido, ¿sabes? Donde yo vivo no se da mucho todavía como que se estén drogando los muchachos. Es como muy difícil ver todavía eso.
Es todavía muy sano.
Es más natural, pero ya muy necio yo. O sea, para todos lados andaba yo. Para todos lados jugando, para acá, con los vecinos, con los primos. Entonces era difícil que me mantuvieran ocupado en algo, porque lo hacía y me iba rápido. Entonces, de repente encuentro en el boxeo una estabilidad ya emocional. Me siento tranquilo, me siento bien. Y conforme van pasando los años empiezo a descubrir que sí me gusta, que lo hago muy fácil. Y esa es mi historia en el boxeo.
Y que lo haces bien.
Sí, pues afortunadamente creo que no soy tan malo y eso me ayudó mucho, ¿no?
Mira, tú no soy tan malo.
Bronquito, yo conozco que yo sé de Bronquito dónde viene. También una familia muy extensa de muchos hermanos, medios hermanos también. Y me platicaba poquito, no sé mucho de él, pero yo sé que había mucha escasez. También en mi caso lo había, pero afortunadamente nunca carecimos de un pan, de una vestimenta, ¿sabes? Bronquito yo sé que también batalló mucho, había mucha escasez, pues eran muchos hijos y era como que, pues era difícil, ¿no? Mantener a muchos hijos y me platicaba que había veces que que se sentía por la necesidad de algo y pues no había, ¿no? ¿Sí me entiendes? Entonces eso era lo que en los dos tenemos en común, eso, nos mantenía trabajando y haciéndolo con mucha pasión. No queríamos esa vida, él no la quería, yo tampoco, y veme dónde estoy y ve dónde va, hacia dónde va Bronco, ¿no? Es por lo mismo, tenemos algo en común, la necesidad nos ha hecho trascender. Y decías tú hace rato, es dormir en cama de seda o con sábanas de seda, te atan a la cama, no te dejan correr a gusto, ¿sabes? No te dejan levantarte para correr temprano.
Exacto.
Eso es algo que pasa desafortunadamente, ¿no? Cuando uno tiene la posibilidad de muchas cosas o disfrutar muchas cosas y que no hay carencias y todo eso, es muy difícil que se pueda desarrollar fácil. Y sin embargo, cuando no tienes algo y lo quieres, lo anhelas, pues tienes que trabajar para eso, y eso te da fortaleza, pues, porque sabes que no lo tienes y dices, yo lo quiero. Vas entrenando con pasión, vas haciendo las cosas bien, porque tú necesitas algo y lo quieres, y es lo que te mantiene trabajando duro siempre.
Y si algo queda aquí en claro es, para todos esos jóvenes, damas, caballeros, que sí tienen anhelos, que tienen sueños, sí se pueden cumplir. Ahora, no te caen de la mata. No. Se requiere trabajo.
Sí, sacrificio. Mucho.
Pero el sacrificio sí vale la pena. Porque
sí,
hoy
siempre.
por hoy estás disfrutando las mieles de tu trabajo.
Sí, siempre hay que trabajar mucho y es trabajar hasta que te des cuenta de que ya tienes lo que anhelabas, ¿sale? Y no sabes cómo llegó. Solamente trabajaste tanto, no te enfocaste en cuándo llegaba o si ya lo tenías, ¿no? De repente cuando volteas y dices, caray, ya tengo esto, y yo quería algo menos y ya tengo esto.
¿Tienes más?
Sí, porque trabajaste tanto que no te diste cuenta en qué momento sucedió, en qué momento llegó, y eso son de los placeres en la vida que te pueden hacer muy, muy feliz, la verdad. El trascender, el crecer, incluso no nada más como deportista, como persona, el que reconozcan tu actitud, tu personalidad, tu forma de desarrollarte como persona, eso también genera un gozo bien grande en ti como persona, porque hay veces o hay muchas personas que de repente no comprenden la situación y hablamos de más a veces o hacemos cosas que no tienen sentido, y eso pues termina por echar a perder tu personalidad, la forma en la que la gente te mira, ¿no?
Tu carácter.
Sí.
Pues Vaquerito, yo te digo que es para mí un placer y un honor, porque yo he sido testigo de tu crecimiento como joven boxeador a profesional, como un chico, como prospecto, como candidato, como oponente y hoy como campeón. Y yo sé, te lo digo aquí y lo comparto con ustedes, vamos a tener la oportunidad de disfrutarte como campeón en varias divisiones.
Okay.
Y no se te olvide, esta es tu casa. Esperamos
Gracias.
Tu regreso al ring para el 3 de febrero. Y bueno, tan pronto podemos decir el oponente, tú me dejas saber quién va a ser y dónde va a ser.
Claro, ¿no? En cuanto esto sea oficial, se va a saber por muchos medios a la vez, porque son muchos los que estamos intrigados, ¿no?
Vale.
Pero en cuanto se dé el anuncio oficial, yo en mis redes sociales lo voy a decir, lo voy a soltar al viento, y todos, incluso yo voy a estar fuera, ¿no? De aquí, voy a estar en casa, voy a estar unos días en casa, pero en cuanto se sepa, ahí está el contacto, saben con quién dirigirse, y pienso hacer una vía Zoom, una pequeña rueda de prensa, sí, conferencia, va a ser vía Zoom, pero pues para que todos tengan la oportunidad de saber qué estoy pensando, qué es lo que se dijo y todo, y pues compartir un rato de conferencia con ustedes, los medios, para irme ya al campamento y pues estar tranquilo, que ya ustedes saben qué va a pasar, ¿no?
¿Y dónde estamos? Sí. Bueno, te agradecemos infinitamente por tu tiempo, tu espacio. Felicidades una vez más. Gracias por ser parte de la familia de la OMB. Nosotros nos vamos a una breve pausa. Vamos a regresar con más. We thank El Vaquero for just spending some time with us, letting us know he's going back to the ring on February 3rd. In the meantime, we're expecting the notification of where and who he will be fighting. We're going to go for a short break. We will be right back with more. And welcome back. We're here at the WBO, the 35th Annual Convention, all the way from San Juan, Puerto Rico. We're enjoying the celebration of the WBO and women's boxing. And of course, we have to bring the man of the hour, the one that's going to be recognized, obviously, because of the efforts that you put forth. You're going to be celebrated right here by me.
Yes.
Marshall Kaufman has been with us for a long time and a great supporter of women's boxing.
Thank you.
You are in the corner of several ladies, but the one lady that we need to bring to the forefront, Alicia Baumgartner.
Yes, Alicia,
Yes, the new
unified
lightweight champion of the world. And I remember I saw your face. We met quickly at the O2 Arena, and I said, she's gonna do well, and how's my girl? And you said, she's fine, she's very relaxed, she's very confident. So I went, I was sitting in the bleachers all the way up there.
I saw the picture you posted.
You knew how far up I was. But it gave me a very good sense to gauge the level of electricity. Because once you're so close to the ring, you get
Correct.
a lot more involved with the action or whatever's going on.
agree.
But when you're up there, I mean, the stands are shaking. And you've been around women's boxing for a long time. You've been supporting right now Zenith Estrada. You've been with Marlene Esparza, Alicia. You know the struggles. But when you stand in the middle of the O2 Arena and it's packed to the rim,
It was awesome.
it
was good to see other women be able to bring that to the table. Look, we were at the Katie Taylor fight in New York, and that was electrifying. I mean,
Yes.
that was special, and so to see other women be able to do it as well really just takes it to a whole new belief and love for women's boxing. I tell everybody this story. I can go back 6 years ago. I never thought I'd be involved with women's boxing, and because call it old school, call it what you want, but there weren't as many women's boxing. I was a favorite. I loved Christy Martin. Watching her come up and fight.
That was the time we were growing up.
And that's when, there was 10 women at the most, if that.
It was
boxing.
indeed. It was indeed.
So I never thought me as a promoter would have women's boxing. And I remember before Alicia ever turned pro, she came to my pro fight I had in Reading. It was a PBC show, and talked about her turning pro with me. Unfortunately, she didn't turn pro with me. She turned pro with Real Deal. And then Real Deal went out of business, and then she came to me and I signed her. And then in that time, here now I have 2 women world champions. I don't promote Marlene, but I advise her. And so I'm like on cloud 9.
Yes.
To have 2 awesome, unbelievable world champions, And they're not just like, oh, they just won it by luck. They're they're the real deal. They really are. And I don't have to say too much about Marlene, as you know. She's a bad, we know what.
Yeah, I can say she's a badass bitch.
Yeah, she is, right?
She's a bitch and she's a boss and she shines like gloss. And I mean that with the utmost respect.
She is. She really is.
Yes.
And I love her. She's so tiny. And then to see Alicia do it was just like, it's a feeling that is so indescribable, because it's a feeling that I remember in the ring after the fight, the videographer for Top Rank, a guy named Peter, says, "Hey Marshall, how you feeling?" I said, "I feel like I'm ready to go to Disney." It was like,
we were getting ready to go to Disneyland.
It's such
Super
a great
Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it felt.
Because the environment was of that level.
Oh, without a doubt.
Now I'm going to get a little woo-woo. When we're talking about frequencies, we were vibrating at that level.
Yes.
It was Julio Cesar Chavez material, Macho Camacho,
yes.
Oscar de la Hoya material.
Now you're talking. Now you're going back into my days, my older days.
No, but those were my days too. So, but the most beautiful thing is, for me as a fan, I don't get a chance to do this too often. And to recognize the history making is the first card of all ladies. And history of boxing in England.
Yes.
Let's put this in perspective.
Yes.
This is where it all started, back in the days of bare knuckle.
Yeah.
And it had never been done, ever. First time in 300 years, something like that.
And hats off to Boxer.
Yes.
For putting it together, And they had to work with Top Rank. They had to work with myself and Matchroom and Salida, and so it all came together. But it was, and to go through what we went through, because we were out there for September 10th originally, and then the Queen had passed, so we had to postpone it. And for it to still be that great after a month later was phenomenal. It was a night I'll never forget.
Well, I had the opportunity to speak to Alicia, and we were talking about how frustrating it must have been. As a fighter, you're all geared up, you're getting ready to go weigh in, and the day before,
correct.
You're in the final stretch of fight week.
That's right.
And it gets pulled out, and you're like you're dressed, your hair is done, your makeup's on, and you have no party.
Right.
It's like, what? And she said, yeah, but at least we knew there was a date.
Yeah.
Like, it was a tentative date. But
right.
you just said something that we were not, those that are not privy to the negotiations, there's a lot of heads that need to be squared away, because
right.
there's dates, and there's, you have to have representatives of people, and you already have this date for this fighter, and now everything gets shifted.
Yeah.
So to bring everybody back, how hard was that?
Well, I personally didn't think that it was going to happen for us a month later, October 15th, because Top Rank also had their show in Australia.
Yes.
With Devin Haney. So, but thank God for the time difference, because they, because our fight was aired on ESPN Plus. Mm-hmm. So they had to have an ESPN crew there. They had to have, a smaller crew. But so I didn't think it was going to happen. I'm thinking, when they postponed it, I'm
You're
thinking
done.
Our fight's not going to happen until who knows when. Probably in the U.S., who knows what's going to happen. But they pulled it together. They really did. And even talking to Mark Taffet, who's with Carissa, mm-hmm. he said they had to check because Carissa does MMA, and she had a fight coming up as well. So there was a whole lot of things that had to be worked out, but it all came together for a historic night in women's boxing.
And in record time, because 4 days later, we already had a date and arena all together, like nothing ever happened. So it was just it felt like a little hiccup. And I was speaking to Alicia, and she said, well, I didn't get frustrated. I used that time to, tighten up loose ends and just sharpen other tools. And the reason I asked her that is because now we're going to date ourselves again. Back in 2001, when Bernard Hopkins and Tito Trinidad were about to fight, the fight was pulled out due to 9/11.
I remember it well.
We remember that well. We were there. We suffered the consequences, and we had to wait.
Yeah.
B-Hop returned home because, he just
was
lived
right
up the
down the
street.
road. Yep.
Exactly. But Tito never went back.
Yeah.
He never came back to Puerto Rico. He stayed in New York. And he said to me during that time, we had a couple of interviews, he said, I just don't feel like I'm in my groove. I don't feel like I'm in my rhythm. Because
he was in New York the whole time.
Yes. But moreover, you don't lose your skills or your ability or your pace or your rhythm in a week or two. But mentally, that delay just threw him off.
Yeah.
So the question begs, how confident were you that Alicia was not going to lose it?
I can't say I was. Well, let me say this. I was confident because there's some changes that took place in her camp. She had another head trainer at the time that wasn't there for when the fight actually happened. So I thought that was actually good for her based on chemistry. And so, but Alicia handles things so well. She always looks at it in terms of faith. Like, she always believes that God has a purpose for everything that she goes through. And so she handled it so well. I was impressed with her. And that itself made me feel more confident because of what she did. You know what I mean? And so when we knew we were going into the fight, knowing that a certain individual wasn't in her camp anymore, and she had Nelson, who's been with her, Nelson Lopez, who's been with her since day one, made her feel more comfortable as well. So I think that all played a huge part. You have to feel comfortable. You know yourself. If you go into an environment and you're with strangers, it's not the same as if you're with your family, if you're with your friends or your loved ones. So I think that made a huge difference in her mentally, knowing she was going into battle with people that truly cared about her and loved her.
And got her
not
back.
for somebody who was just there for a payday.
One of the most beautiful scenes was, they're reading out the cards, and then, they read the last score.
96-95.
Your face. It was poetry.
Yeah.
What was going through your head?
Like, wow, we did it. You know, I was nervous. Look, when I heard the first scorecard,
It was a tight fight.
yeah, and it was 97-93 for Michaela. I'm thinking,
Wow.
what was she watching? You know,
That happens.
And, yeah, and it happens in boxing across the board. So I was extremely nervous. Then when they said 96-95 for Alicia, I'm like, okay, this is more like it.
And that was more of a score that I would have.
Because when I walked into the ring, Tony Harrison, who's her trainer now, said to me, it's a close fight. I said, yes, very close. And so when they said 96-95 for Alicia, I'm like, okay. And then when they said the same score again,
You said,
you knew it could go in either way. But when he mentioned Alicia Baumgartner and she jumps up, the new, I was just so excited. Like, I'm telling you, I can't get over it. I mean,
but it was written all over your face.
Yeah.
It was a combination between, oh shit, this is real.
Yeah.
I don't want to say the heaviness. It's the seriousness.
Yeah.
Because at the end we're just really playing.
Exactly.
We love what we do.
Yeah. We're just going along for the ride.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're sitting
and hope that we can make a little bit of impact in this journey of boxing along the way. And like for me, it was so great that night for two reasons. Having Alicia and knowing how humble of a young lady she is, and she's, call her cocky, call her confident, but she believed from day one that she was going to beat Michaela from day one, and she had to carry the same attitude into the Terry Harper fight as well. So she's very confident. She's a God-fearing woman, so she believes that God has a plan for her life. On top of that, so seeing all that just makes you feel so much better to see that success that you were a part of, bringing some type of success to this young lady. You know what I mean? And so, it's like as a mother, as you are, to see you impart wisdom and knowledge into your own daughter's life, and to see that. So when I can see that I've imparted something into Alicia's life, it's a great feeling. You know what I mean? And so it almost feels like a proud parent.
But let me take it just a bit further. Let's not forget that was a history-making moment in a sport that is perhaps the oldest organized sport in history.
Yes.
Does that give you a different magnitude? That's
of
the word that I was looking for.
Yeah, it really is. To be a part of history, and the being that we won that night makes it all well worth it. To go home and lose doesn't sit well. If we would have lost that night, it wouldn't have sat well. I wouldn't be here tonight talking about it. But being that we were a part of history and that we were victorious on that part of history,
it just
takes it to another level. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And which, then again, I want to bring it back to the WBO because the organization is dedicating this convention to women's boxing.
Yes.
And I am so flattered that they would ask me to host this podcast.
Well, they asked the right person.
Thank you. 30 years waiting for a moment like this. 30 years working, hoping and expecting for women to get the recognition they deserve in a sport that is relentless, that is unforgiving for their gladiators and those around them. And now, in 30 years, you and I can actually talk about the times where women were not even allowed in locker rooms.
Yeah.
I come from that era.
You're right.
When no referees were females.
No.
When no judges were females. So I am very happy and very thankful to be able to celebrate with you guys.
Women are making their mark in history, and not only in sports, but all over. I mean, when I was watching a football game the other day, and to see a woman referee,
an NFL game,
NFL
a season game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And then you see the same thing in the NBA. You see, and I've always believed that women take a much firmer stance than what a man does. Women are so thorough on what they do that me personally, rather have a woman referee or judge any day. Because there's just something about that. You're more thorough because I think you want to make sure that not only that you have an opportunity there to do what's right, but you're also making history for you and the women that follow you. you know. And so for Alicia to win this title, all the little girls are going to look up to her for that, you know, and what Clarissa has done, you know, for women's boxing as well. It goes a long way, and it's just like we said, it was a special night.
Absolutely.
It really was. And when I look around in that audience and see the people that were in there, people that I didn't even like, when I saw you, I was like, oh, what are you doing here? You know, it's like
it was almost offensive. It's like, what are you doing here? I had to come.
I saw another girl from Florida that was there that fought for me, a girl named Avril Matthey. Yeah, she fought. She lives in Florida. She lives like in the Tampa area, and she fought for me. She used to be with MTK, but she fights out of Florida, and I saw her there too. I was like, what are you doing here? It's like,
well, I had to finagle and hustle because I actually went to London to do bare knuckle, and you know how that
was
goes.
The next night with Paulie and
exactly.
that, right? Yeah.
So I had to extricate myself from my duties. Then I had to finagle for a ticket and hustle to get into the locker rooms because obviously I was there as a fan, so I didn't have credentials. Right. Yes, I snuck in. Yes.
You heard that she snuck in.
I did, and I do that, and there's a reason why. It's because I'm a hustler, and that's why I'm
good.
here.
That's right.
And that's how I got a chance to go and speak to Clarissa, and then I went to see Alicia, and then I went to see friend Sean. We met in the hallway, and it was like, oh my God, it's really happening. And when,
by the way, I sat next to Paulie throughout the whole fight. Paulie was down in the corral. They should have put you in the corral too.
Yeah, well, I should have, but I wasn't. I was actually enjoying, and I was singing, you know, to the top of my lungs, Sweet Caroline.
I saw that.
Yes, it was hilarious. And then, you know what was impressive? And it goes to show the level of respect that fans have. The English fans, both for soccer and boxing, are wow. So they went from, oh, Savannah Marshall, to poor Savannah Marshall.
No, they didn't.
Yes, you did.
Wow.
Yes. And just to preface this moment in history, in our very limited world of boxing, Savannah Marshall is their golden girl, Olympian. The rivalry against Clarissa had been done since, you know, the amateurs. The only loss Clarissa has was on Savannah Marshall's hands, and this was their standard. Savannah, and she's a great girl, a whole lot of fun, very
quiet, reserved,
very. But when she steps in the ring, she means business, like most women. And obviously, the English fans were right behind her. And the reason why I'm saying this is because our national anthem was booed. When Clarissa was walking out, she was booed. And us in the States, we could take that offensive. We could find that hurtful. I don't think the fans are really doing that to offend anybody. It's because they're supporting their girl.
Correct.
Their standard, their Olympian. By the end of the fight, there was so much respect. It was a standing ovation once that result was actually voiced out. Everybody was up, applauding, and again, they went from, oh, Savannah Marshall to poor Savannah Marshall. So kudos to the fans because a lot of times we tend to think, well, they don't know what they're talking about. No,
look, the fans in the UK are second to none. They know their boxing. You know, you can ask them. You can walk up to a fan you can walk up to someone on the streets and ask them who the world champion is, the heavyweight world, and they know.
Yeah, from all the different organizations.
You can't do that in the U.S.
No,
because we don't know. I mean, we're not privileged enough to see it on free TV. We have to get Showtime or pay-per-view, or in order to watch who's fighting who. Yeah,
it's not like the olden days of ABC Sports.
Exactly.
We just dated ourselves again.
You're making me feel old here. But no, you're absolutely right. But they know. Whether it's because of Sky or DAZN or whatever
the reason
but they
is.
Know they're boxing.
Yes.
Every one of them. And it's like they're such supportive and they're such great fans and they love it at the arena. And they're there from the beginning until the end.
Which was another thing that blew my mind. I got there early because I had to pull myself out of BYB and we were just across the street. And I walked in and I'm thinking, I'm going to be able to sneak in because nobody's going to be there. Psst, what? It was packed.
It was at 8. I think at like 7 p.m. or 8. It was
three-quarters.
It was 3/4 full.
Well, the
At 8 p.m.,
line
yeah.
at 6:30 was impossible.
Wow.
Impossible. So yes, by 7
Yeah.
p.m. it was. And usually our fans, they get there for the
Right.
co-main and main.
Exactly.
So, a shout out to all our UK fans.
Yes,
we
for
love
sure.
you. Thank you for being so much fun. And
Yes.
even when we go to when their fighters are fighting in the States,
Yes.
they're around the arena
They're
from
there
earlier. Yes, all the
yeah.
time.
I mean, I can think of days when Ricky Hatton came over and fought, when Joe Calzaghe came over and fought. Like they came over and they supported and they showed love and they were diehard fans.
Yes.
For real.
And,
Yeah.
and again, we could get a little rowdy, but still,
Yeah.
it's all because of the love
That's right.
and passion they have
That's
for
right.
this sport.
That's right.
So moving forward, as 2022 is coming to an end, literally the 2 years of amazing opportunities and exposure of these ladies and their skills. What can we expect in the near future for women's boxing?
I think it's going to even go to another level. I really do. I mean, you see women are making, for the first time ever, minimum of $1 million. I think Amanda and Katie, they set the bar. They really did. Carissa followed, with her deal that she put together for 2 fights. Alicia's right there. So I think we're going to see more women really start to get paid what they're worth. And I say that because for how long has women been underpaid for
Everything.
for something they're doing that a man does, whether it's in the corporate world, whether it's in the corporate world or not. But it's a fact. It really is. You women have given as much, if not more, than what men give, and yet you get paid so much less. So I think it's going to really do a lot for women's boxing financially for them, and they deserve it. They really do. When you have, in my opinion, and I'm biased, but I think Alicia has that superstar. She has that star power like a Gervonta Davis, because she can punch. Once she believes in herself a little bit more, she has that star power. She has that star power that's going to make her tons and tons of money, even outside of the boxing ring, And I think that goes a long way. And I think women have that power to do that so much more than men could ever do it, Women are more attractive than men, I'd rather put on a commercial and watch a woman on the commercial than watch some man, So I think that's going to make a difference. I think, Katie and Amanda, kudos to them because they've set the bar super high.
So before I let you go, because I know we got things to do, people to see, hands to shake.
Yes.
This is the $1 million question. As an advisor, as a promoter, as a manager, you've done a lot. Is it fair to say that it's needed the rounds to be extended to 3 minutes?
Should it be extended to 3 minutes?
Just because when we're talking about equal pay,
I'm in favor of it.
me too.
I am.
Me
and
too.
I think if you ask most of the women,
They want it.
They also want it.
Yes.
So I'm in favor of it. It's some of the powers that be that don't want it because they're concerned about the woman. They want to protect them, whatever the case is. To me, it's BS. Let them fight. If they deserve equal pay and they want equal pay, let them fight the equal amount of rounds as well. And they want it. It's not like if I said to you, hey, Claudia, do you want to fight 3 minutes or 2 minutes? Well, if I'm going to get paid equally, then yeah, of
let
course,
it go.
let's go. But if you're not going to pay me the same kind of money,
That's the
then
point.
keep me at 2 minutes.
Yes, because if I'm going to do
Exactly.
much more work for
Yeah.
the same amount of money, it's not
That's
worth
right.
it.
That's right.
I agree.
You know,
I
so-
agree. But the argument also, which is the one conversation I've had back and forth with Mauricio Sulaiman from the WBC, he keeps saying, and there's like research that he backs up his opinions with, because I know Mauricio's not the type of person that would
Correct.
just decide to do something, and obviously Paco will not decide something without getting the backup.
I know he's an advocate for 2 minute rounds.
Yes.
Right.
And he says if marathons in the women's division is not the same as men's, if the Ironman is not the same for men and women, if even tennis, when we go into Grand Slams, they're not the same, then why should we do this for boxing? I mean, there's stamina and there's resistance and there's resilience, and I know that's a human condition, but women are women and men are men, and there's a different physical capacity for men compared to women.
Correct.
So that's the argument that I can also hear coming back, and that's another reason why
I respect that.
Yeah.
I do respect it, but I think it really falls on the individual. If I said to Alicia, "Do you want to fight 3 or 2?" And same with Carissa, they would probably prefer 3 because it gives them an opportunity for more knockouts.
and because in so many occasions, the
And then
ratio,
instead of those fights going 10 rounds, they might only go 6.
exactly, so mathematically speaking, now I'm getting a little scientific here. The ratio of 2 activity to 1 to rest, that's a 50.
Correct.
That's at 50%. Whereas in a 3 to 1, then it's only a third.
Correct.
For to take that break. Then that actually takes away from your opponent if you're breaking him down.
That's
and
right.
not only that, but in the development of a fight plan, we almost split a round in 3. Obviously, it's 3 minutes. So the first minute, you're going all out. Maybe the second minute, you take a break, and then you close the round strong.
Correct.
Just to make sure that you only get 1 minute break so you can start again strong.
Yeah.
Am I making any sense?
Of course.
So that's the development of a fight plan for an aggressive fighter. You can't do that when the ratio is 2 to 1. No.
You can't. There's no way.
So it's an argument that could go back and forth, but I agree if you're going to get paid the same, the conditions should be the same. Amateur boxing has it the same.
Yeah, you're right.
So I don't understand the rationale behind it.
Hopefully it might change. You know, they always talk about there's no knockouts in women's boxing. I think that's a huge part of it. The women that you do see score knockouts, like the Savannah Marshall, even Alicia, they did it because of their pure power and their punching ability. But you would see many more knockouts if they went 3 minutes, without a doubt. Because you see the developmental breakdown of each opponent as the rounds go on.
Exactly.
You know?
So if you ever need somebody to raise a hand with you, I will be right there. Yes.
I like that.
I will be right there because
Good.
I as much as I want fair play, I want fair pay, I want all those excellent things, to showcasing their skills, the opportunities.
That's right.
I want the opportunity both inside and outside the ring.
Yeah.
For everybody. So
agree.
be it.
I agree.
Marshall, it's so great to have you.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure.
Hopefully we'll get to do this again and more often, and that I don't have to chase you all over the place like I did at the O2.
I would love for that to happen. I really appreciate this, and thanks to the WBO. Thank you to you, and for the fans out there, keep an eye on this young lady.
Thank you for the young. We're gonna go to a quick break. We will. That. See what you did?
Got you nervous there a little bit?
I did. We'll be right back with more. This is fantastic. You can't miss these conversations. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
from San Juan, Puerto Rico.
What is that, just like a commercial?
Yeah, no, we're doing recaps.
Oh, good, good.
Would you mind? Let's go.
Well, have some fun. What time is it? I mean,
Paso a paso me dejaste entender que tú nunca dejaste de creer que el camino no era fácil y lo lograste recorrer. Me llevaste a soñar que el sueño se hizo realidad. Ay, tú eres nuestro orgullo que me trae felicidad. Aquí contamos con ustedes que siempre en lo mejor, siempre firme en la esperanza de un pueblo que grita gol. Por eso me ven contento. Mi marea sigue subiendo, vamos, vamos, Panamá. Yeah. Que sube, 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 sube la marea. Que representa mi bandera.
Ahí vuela alto mi marea, otra vez.
Que sube, 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 sube la marea. Tú me llevaste a la gloria, contigo hasta la victoria.
Ya me puse el uniforme, ese que lleva tu nombre, con el rojo, azul y blanco y las estrellas en el borde.
Va subiendo el calor, va llegando la emoción.
Mi marea es la mejor.
Que sube, 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 sube la marea. Que representa mi bandera. Ahí vuela alto mi marea otra vez. Que sube, 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 sube la marea. Tú me llevaste a la gloria, contigo hasta la victoria. Voy llegando a la cancha contento, este orgullo lo llevo por dentro. Cada niño te lleva en el corazón, todo un pueblo que siempre te brinda amor. Mi bandera cruzo fronteras, porque mi nombre es Panamá, Panamá, Panamá. Panamá ese, yes. Voy a poner a flotar mi bandera, por eso vamos a cruzar fronteras. Si eres panameño, mano arriba donde quieras. Si eres panameño, mano arriba donde quieras. Me gusta mi ambiente contenta, cuando la tricolor representa, que se suba la marea y se sienta. Panamá esto apenas comienza. Con mi bandera cruzo fronteras, porque mi nombre es Panamá, 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 Panamá. Que sube, 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 sube la marea. Que representa mi bandera.
Ahí vuela alto mi marea, otra vez.
Que sube, 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 sube la marea. Tú me llevaste a la gloria, contigo hasta la victoria.
Ya me puse el uniforme, ese que lleva tu nombre, con el rojo, azul y blanco y las estrellas en el borde.
Va subiendo el calor, va llegando la emoción.
Mi marea es la mejor.
Que sube, 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 sube la marea. Que representa mi bandera. Ahí vuela alto mi marea otra vez. Que sube, 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 sube la marea. Tú me llevaste a la gloria, contigo hasta la victoria. Voy llegando a la cancha contento, este orgullo lo llevo por
彼はひどく打ちのめされていた。助けなどいない。強くなった。立ち上がるしかなかった。運命を求めて旅に出る。それが彼の伝説。
Bienvenidos, bienvenidos,
Bienvenidos. Bienvenidos a la convención anual de la Organización Mundial de Boxeo.
I feel very happy. I'm glad to be in Tokyo. This is one of the greatest countries in the world. Welcome and thank you for coming for the WBO Convention in my favorite country, Tokyo, Japan.
元 WBO アジアパシフィックチャンピオンの野上真司です、東京にいらっしゃいませ。
その妻の WBO 世界、チャンピオンの吉川奈々です、最高
Hello everyone, I would like to congratulate the WBO on its 32nd convention. To the WBO President Francisco Paco Valcarcel, my best wishes to you and to all the members of the organization WBO and to all the champions. Congratulations. Thank you.
Hey. 東京に日本にですね WBO の、皆さんが来ていただいて本当に嬉しい限りです、2013年に WBO、日本ボクシングコミッションが認可してこのような、コンベンションが開かれたこと非常に誇りに思っております。
I would like to say thank you to all participants in this wonderful convention. We're going to have a great gala dinner tomorrow. Thank you for being here.
Welcome to the WBO Convention, Tokyo, Japan. Konnichiwa!
see, that's ya el podcast. Oh, hi, and we're back to the WBO, the 35th annual convention, and we're live in the podcast all the way from San Juan, Puerto Rico. This is our last day. Tonight is the gala night.
That's correct.
And we're having very prestigious people, people that have been around boxing for a long time, that I've had the pleasure to share time, share coffee. And with me right now, Mark Aloy, part of the Texas Athletic Commission.
That's correct.
Thank you for joining us. A very well-known referee. God knows you've been around for a long time. You know fighters left and right from all corners of the world. And it's such a pleasure to have you here.
Claudia, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Let's go real quick. The convention embraces the continuing education, but when you've been around boxing for so long, why is it important to come back?
Oh, you have to always kind of fine-tune your game, so to speak. You're in there with elite athletes, and they train every day. Thus, we must train as well as officials to stay on our game.
And when you see young men coming and starting to incur a career as a referee or as an official in general in boxing, these conventions allow for that exchange between the veterans and the young ones.
Correct. The mentorships are built here at these conventions, and it is we exchange information, and they have questions. The younger the younger officials coming in have so many questions. Things that that I had. And it's kind of funny, you have the same questions that are asked to you when you were looking at a Joe Cortez or, one of the...
Mills Lane.
Mills Lane, one of
Yes.
these guys, it's like,
Richard
wow, do you do
Steele.
this or do that?
Yes.
Or what would you do in this situation? So those very informative conversations happen at these conferences.
So I know you had like a little Freudian slip because there's young fighters. You said fighters before saying referees and officials in general. But the truth of the matter is we have young fighters here too. We have the Xander Ziases, and they have questions too, because before we went live, and that's why you guys caught me off guard here, we were talking about that very intimate dance of three in a very small area. In a ring, sometimes like last week we had an 18 by 18 ring.
Correct.
It's in that dance, the reason why I use intimate is because you have two highly trained athletes going at it, sharing sweat, tears, blood, and there's that camaraderie yet rivalry, and then you're in the middle of all that. How does it feel to be part of that?
Oh gosh, it is very intense at times. At times, you do look at that, and you obviously try to keep your emotions out of it. But as you said earlier, you get into a rhythm, so it almost becomes a dance, if you will. Emotions, the blood, of a 12-round fight, the interaction between, you have highs and you have lows. But I'd like to say that the most important thing that I always see is the camaraderie after, no matter how many things or pre-fight, that the very end, if you will. I always like to see that the athletes embrace, they share that time that you have there with them, and it is it's quite an experience. It's quite an experience.
Does it ever get old?
No. Every dance, if you will, every bout, whether it's a 4 or a 12, has its own unique qualities about it.
And I find that even in rematches, even if you have the same star and co-star of the dance is not the same.
Never the same. Never the same. There's always something. You never can entrap that moment. It's a new one. It's a new book. It's a new chapter, so to speak.
And one of the finest things that I've encountered in this being my first convention ever is not only the eagerness of the young men and women coming and sharing, wanting to like pick your brain, but also the openness from the veterans and those that have been in the trenches for a long time to impart their knowledge and their wisdom, and how somehow you also get the like almost retro feed from the young ones because they're living a completely different era. So you and I, we're dating ourselves here. We come from the era where the referee was stoic. There was absolutely poker face. You couldn't even interact with us as part of the media. And now this new generation, they understand that they do have to talk, because now we're humanizing the position.
Right, right.
How has that transition been for you?
I believe that it's a good thing. I believe it's a good thing. Our sport is always, there's times when people will, this is going on, or this is being open about the sport, being open as far as what's going on. And Paco said that at the very beginning of the agenda. That's why we were doing this podcast. And again, I think it's a wonderful idea. Yes, transparency. Wonderful idea.
And it's been, I have to admit, I've learned more about the subject that I've dealt with for 30 years in these 3 days than I ever did in 27 years.
There you go, because of the points you were saying.
Yes.
We were like, no, but now it's transparency. It's a good thing.
Yeah, and we were, we always talk about rankings as being something like out there, like almost like an algorithm, just trying to figure out who's best. And no, there's a science behind it.
There is.
And one of the most wonderful things that I've seen in the progression is now the identification of fighters and their state of mind, their physical state, and how that connection between you and the fight. And we were not privy to those conversations. And I'm going to ask you, how important is it for you to know those fighters, to establish those relationships so they know where they're at?
Well, no, I really don't establish relationships with the fighters. The pre-fight locker room meeting is about the only time that I really establish a relationship, if you want to call it that. But it's more on a professional level. Right then and there, it's a professional level. After that, I don't know. I may have the next rematch, if you will. So I don't want to open up like personal relationships, nothing like that at all. But do I check a fighter after a bout? Of course, I'm always concerned. My job is not finished until I know that athlete has gone home safely to his family.
Amen. As a matter of fact, the reason why I misspoke using the word relationship, but understanding what the fighter can do.
Yes.
And I'm going to revert to a few fights, when we talk about like Timothy Bradley Provodnikov, when we talk about Juan Manuel Marquez Manny Pacquiao, and those, again, matches that they're never the same. But then you have a ref that understands, this is what Juan Manuel can give me, and this is what Provodnikov can give me after dealing with a hard-hitting Timothy Bradley. And it's because it falls on the referee to not only recognize the state of the fight, but the state of the fighters.
Of course. And once you have them performing for you, basically hitting their acceleration, if you will, you just kind of sit back and make sure that they kind of stay within the lanes and let them perform for the audience. It is athletic competition at its highest level.
Yeah, I love, a few weeks ago, we were working in Hermosillo, and you said something that stayed in my head. You said, I am supposed to be invisible in the ring. Would you mind elaborating on that?
I think that once you get the fighters to start executing at their highest level. Again, you just step back, you watch, you make sure they stay within those lanes, because the audience, if you will, they want to see those athletes perform at their highest level. If you're always interceding with things that slows down the pace of the fight, the rhythm of the fight, then it's just like you're asking an athlete, let's just say a track star, I need for you to run this 100-yard dash, but at 25 yards, I need for you to stop. At 50 yards, I need for you to stop. At 75 yards, I need for you to stop.
That could be an issue.
Yes. Our job is to allow that progression to happen naturally, and it starts going. And a good example would be the Nosinga Flores.
Oh, yes.
And we had a tape come up. I could have timed. Let's take him to the corner.
That was so
Let's
annoying.
cut it.
And then again.
Boom. And so we just, I got, okay, the tape far enough. I can stick it in the glove. Let's get back to boxing.
It was a brilliant performance, and of course, I've had the chance to speak to Russell Mora. You know him very well, and we were talking about how thankless the position of a referee can be, because at the end of, when you go for the last bell, somebody's gonna lose, and obviously in between the first and the last bell, you are in the middle of this. So any call that you make, any decision that you make, is always going to be questioned. So day after day, how do you wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to do this fight, and I'm not gonna let this other fight annoy me or stay in the back of my mind, any decision that I make. How do you do that? We had this conversation very, very, like superficial.
Sure. It just wake up in the morning and just decide that, hey, this is, again, a new day, a new fight, if you will. And I take it like that. When I enter, obviously, my experiences from past competition, they stay with you slightly as far as being able to do things maybe a little bit different.
Look for things.
Yeah, look for things,
Yes.
obviously, that you might have experienced before. And then you take those experiences and knowledge, and I'll say knowledge because that's what it is, move forward, and once again, allow that individual to run that 100 yards without stopping.
And allow them to perform
Allow
at
them
their
to perform.
best.
Yes.
So I'm going to share something about Mark, something personal, that you happen to practice combat sports.
Yes.
How does that discipline actually help you to understand what's going on in that fighter's mind in that particular moment?
I think that there's so much that an athlete puts into his time that he's going to be there. Again, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, they're still all the same in my opinion. Those athletes have gone through months of training, years of training, and some experiences, if you will, and just keeping them at ease, and then obviously letting them perform for us, letting them work.
And I have to commend not only your job, but obviously the commission in the state of Texas.
Thank you.
Because you guys are so strict. So hopefully I can bribe Mark and allow me to go into the locker rooms without much hassle. But thank you so much. It's always such a pleasure. I know that you've been around for a while, but this is the kind of thing that gets under your skin, and it's hard to let go.
Definitely.
We had the opportunity to hear the announcement from Russell Mora saying that he was going to retire.
Yes, isn't that wonderful? That is wonderful.
It is wonderful because he's now part of the WBO family. I know there's a lot of Mark to go on. But if you do decide to retire, please notice us before we get that surprise in a convention like that, because the veterans are what make the path for all these young men and women that are here that much easier.
Thank you very much, and of course I will.
Well,
Thank you for having me.
No, it's my pleasure. And again, it is a thankless job, but just to put things in perspective, these men and women have lives in their hands, day in and day out. So I commend you for your commitment to your fighters, to your performance, to years of just understanding that it's all an evolution. And by all means, you take care of your fighters like they're your own children.
Thank you, Claudia.
Oh, thank you, Mark. We're going to go for a short break. We'll be right back. Don't miss anything. If you missed any of the interviews that we had, please replay this right now, because there's a lot of wisdom right here imparted by Mr. Barcaloy. We're going to go for a short break. We'll be right back. are back here at the WBO, the 35th Annual Convention. And all the way from San Juan, Puerto Rico, we're going live in this podcast. And we've had the opportunity to speak to fantastic people, great characters, all the movers and shakers in the world of boxing. And as we're coming to the close, we had to close with a bang because what I promise, I come and I produce. I produce. So here, Mr. Bill Haney himself is joining us, fresh off the plane, all the way from Australia.
Absolutely. Well, one thing about you always deliver, and you saved the best for last.
Yes, I did.
The self-described biggest character in boxing, the dad of the undisputed champion of the world in the lightweight division. Something that hasn't ever been done before in the four-belt era at 23 years old. You got Devin Haney, and I'm happily here in Puerto Rico to represent him and everything that he is about.
And Mr. Devin Haney is taking a well-deserved rest.
Yes, ma'am, I would like to say that he's taking a well-deserved rest, but one thing about him, wherever he's resting at, he's working. So you know, the world will get a chance to see what he always puts out is great content, whether he's in the ring or out the ring.
Well, there is absolutely no doubt. Let's talk about not going to Australia one time, but 2 times.
Yeah.
And I want to go back to the first fight, just
Yes.
because it was one of those situations where I was concerned because you have always been with your son, and then all of a sudden you're having problems to get to Australia, and there was a minute there that we thought you were not going to make it to a fight. What was going through your head?
Well, you know what? Before, when me and you got an opportunity to see each other, and I go freshen up, you go freshen up, and us obviously come back and have this video. And hey, Queen, that's Clarissa.
That is the queen.
That is the quote.
Clarissa
Oh my God.
Shields. We're gonna have her later on tonight.
Good.
Unless.
Hey, listen. Come say hi just one time,
Yeah,
Queen.
just come on in.
say
Come
hi.
on in. We don't get a chance to see so much greatness at once, all together.
I'm so proud of y'all. Oh my
listen,
God.
That was an amazing night.
Oh, thank
and
you.
You know I'm always proud of you. You set the stage.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
the tone. You know what I mean?
Me and Devin, we was going back and forth on Instagram the whole time.
Yeah,
Fighting
yeah.
the same day. It was crazy.
But you remember him being real little.
Yeah.
And he's not little no more.
And he's not little no more.
Yeah, he's been
Was he
taller
always
than me for
determined?
years.
Was he always determined like he is?
Oh my goodness, we
Was
should
he
have a
always
third
focused?
mic here.
To me, Devin Haney has always been focused. Like, he's one of the boxers I've never seen drink, smoke.
Right.
Always be in the gym. Anytime I went to Vegas, he was in the gym, for sure.
Yeah.
It's not no shocker he's undisputed, for sure.
Absolutely.
There's a reason why, and there's a reason why, like I said, this is greatness, and I promised that I was going to have the best of the best. And just to put things in perspective, Clarissa really just got off the plane. She checked in, and I was gonna give her time to get dolled up because we were gonna get together for the. But I'm so happy you made it.
She's always working. She's always working. You're an example of greatness. What we as a community cheer for all the time, for somebody to come along, and Clarissa has come along and fulfilled every hope that we have wanted as a culture and a people.
Well, the interesting thing is when we have the combination of determination and work ethic, dreams are reality. And this is the epitome of that, really. So I followed your careers as, from the amateurs all the way to the pros, and there was no doubt in my mind that you guys were going to achieve whatever it was that you guys decided to do. And in your case, you're all making history.
Okay, can I make an announcement? What I believe that it should be is the female fighter of the year and Clarissa, and Devin Haney being the male fighter of the year. How about that?
Oh, there you
Two
go.
undisputed.
That is true.
They went across the pond to get it.
Yep.
And came back with it. It was insurmountable odds. I mean, I was concerned about Clarissa as well as concerned about Devin and what was going to happen, and they went and made it look easy. So.
And not only did they make it look easy, they won the hearts and the respect
of the
fans that were actually there for the opponent.
Oh my God, the Cinderella story.
I got booed out and then I got cheered out.
Yeah, absolutely. Cinderella story.
Cinderella story. They were booing me, then when I left, they were like, Clarissa. I was like, okay.
Oh, you're gonna have to say it because we're trying to get that mic on. You know what? Just take a seat real quick, right here. I'm gonna just move the equipment over. Right. You can sit right there. Yes, I can hold it. Exactly. You knew exactly what I was gonna do. Thank you. So, oh, wow, that's first class
Simple.
treatment right there. Oh my goodness. How wonderful is this for me?
Oh, it's amazing for me as well.
Oh my
right?
goodness.
This
So
is- yeah.
I'm gonna play the girl card.
As you should.
How often?
As you should.
How often do you get a chance to be in front of a woman that has changed boxing?
She's one of a kind. She has done things for the sport that I don't know if any woman or person will ever do. Should I not say that? She's an athlete that represents boxing. As when you think of Muhammad Ali, when you think of the greats, Sugar Ray Leonard, she's right there.
Amazing. And it brings me back to you real quick because we followed this opportunity against Savannah Marshall. We talked about it over a year and a half ago. And the probability was always there, but like you were saying, just chasing that opportunity, hunting it down. And now you see her face to face. And they pull the fight right under your feet. Fight is canceled.
Postponed, yeah.
How frustrating was that for you?
You know, it wasn't that frustrating. You know, I could never be against having more time to get ready for a fight. You know, I was thinking about how they were supposed to have the Olympics 2020, but had it 2021. And USA Boxing called me and said, "Can you give our athletes a word? Everybody's so discouraged." I said, "You got another year to get ready for the biggest moment of your life. What are you mad about? Because once it's over, it's over."
Brilliant.
And I'm like, if I would have had an extra year and fought the Olympics when I was 18, I would have been knocking those girls out. But I was still young and 17, coming right out the juniors and fighting all these grown women, and I won. But it was like I could have won better, like I did in 2016, if they would have gave me another year. So when I found out that it was a whole nother year, I was like, yeah, it sucks, but at the end of the day, you got one more year to
sharpen up
365 days to make sure that you do not come up short. Nobody wants silver medal, bronze.
And nobody
gold.
remembers the silvers or the bronzes. That
Gold.
is true.
You want a gold medal. So I'm like, if you have another year to get ready, you got to take advantage of that. So that's what I had talked to the USA Boxing team about. So same thing with the 5 weeks. It was like, all right, I knew that Savannah Marshall had size. I knew that she had some power from what I had saw, and that she would be really rough and dirty in there. But I just was like, skill-wise, it's nothing she can do. So when I went back to the gym, I just said, you know what? We're about to build off of where we're at, and I want to knock her out. And I was confident that I could knock her out, that I could hurt her. And when we went back to the gym and we started back building after 5 weeks, I just felt so much stronger and had an easier weight cut and just, I don't know, like I just felt unstoppable. And everybody, 95% of boxing was like, oh, Savannah Marshall gonna knock her out. Savannah Marshall so strong. Savannah Marshall.
Was there ever a time that you changed your game plan during the fight, or was it the same game plan from round 1 to round 12?
No, I changed the game plan at least 3 times in the fight.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So the early rounds you seen where I was outboxing her, had her slick with the jab, countering her, hitting her to her body, that was always the game plan. Then when I seen that, I don't know if she coming with a punch or I don't know if it was a thumb, but she started getting landing a whole lot of her hooks. So now I'm like, you know what, let me take that limb from her, and now I'm just gonna fight her on the inside and see what she can do here. I already had known that she couldn't fight on the inside, so I said, I'm about to make it ugly in here. So I fought her on the inside, roughed her up, snuck in my hook, snuck in my right hands, and then when it came to the last round, it was like a round, hey Xander, it was a round or two where I played the rope and then I beat her up there too. So it was 3 different plans, but if I would have stuck to the first one, it was hard to be on the outside trying to slip her punches when I couldn't see out my eye from rounds, I think 7 and 8. I couldn't see out my right eye.
Amazing.
We never noticed that. We never
It's
noticed.
called poker face.
There you go. There you go. And you know, talk about changes. We were just talking to Mr. Bill because we were talking about that last minute change. Obviously, you are your son's right-hand man. And not being able to get on that plane with him. What was going through your head?
Well, just like I said, this is one of my favorite sweatshirts because it represents what every adversity that could have happened was happening, you know, and for the last minute for them to then permit me to come over and to be there for my son, it showed, you know, you have to savor the moments together because they can be ripped apart. Obviously, we're better together, but one thing that I'm confident is that I've raised a fine champion, young man, all of the above, and him, and he would have been great if I hadn't showed up. I showed up and got a chance to enjoy the moment.
So let's talk
believe
about,
that.
I believe that
Yeah.
too. Let's talk about autonomy, independence, self-assurance. That is the common denominator here. How does that, as a dad, how do you instill that into your son?
Well, I'm a firm believer in Allah, and I believe that God does not make any mistakes. What he has in him, I support, like all my other kids. I have a kid that's playing tennis, and I have another, my youngest daughter, she's a clothes designer slash stylist
Artist.
slash, yeah, you know what I mean? She's 8 years old. So I just support what Allah's blessed me to be a part of, and you know, that's just my little hidden secret, I guess you would say.
It's a beautiful secret, a secret that you've handled very well from day one. We've known each other for a long time. It's not easy. Let's put this in perspective. 2-time gold medalist.
Yeah.
World champion, undisputed, undefeated. And not once in the years that I've known you, there has yet to be one day that you would come up to me and say, I'm having a hard day, or I'm having a hard time. I'm pretty sure you've had it. Mm-hmm. But the poker face is constant within you. How?
Well, you know what? I'm a big believer in God, and there's some problem that I can't handle. So I take it right to God. You know, I was going through stuff the week of the fight with Savannah Marshall, and I ended up having a panic attack during the week of the fight. And those just, you know, it zaps you of your energy. You know, so it was a full day up in London where I couldn't train, and I just had to pull myself back together. But I was going through things, and not because of the fight, but it was, you know, trying to stay focused on the fight because life is still happening. But only thing you can care about is boxing. But life is still happening. So many things going on with my family, my relationship, my friends, and I'm trying to be there for them, but it's like I can't. So I'm trying to block everything out, and I feel like my bottle just ran over, and then I end up having some freaking crazy panic attack, and it was terrible. And I can't tell anybody that, or you know, say that the week of the fight, because my opponent is watching my every move. Her coach is watching my every move. People are. I don't want nobody to be worried about me, so I had to take it to God. And you know, I think that I have 4 or 5 people in my life who I call my mentors, who I know that when I call them, they're going to answer the phone, they're going to answer my text, they're going to listen to me cry or whatever it is and help me get through it. Because everybody who's in that circle, we're all not I don't know how to say, like, we're not punks, and they don't accept punk stuff from me. So I could be crying in this moment, but at the moment, if I give you an example, Andre Durrell is like, all right, I hear you. I hear you, I feel you, I understand you, but
pity party's over.
Yes.
What did Adrian Broner say? He said, "Shut that soft ass shit up." That's what Adrian Broner said. So that's how it kind of is in my circle, and it's like, yeah, y'all right, you know, that's positive energy, you know, but I don't have good days all the time, but I do know that tomorrow will be better than what yesterday was, as long as I let it be, and that's just how I kind of just move forward. Like I don't stay stuck in one day. Like when I lost in the amateurs, my only loss in boxing.
Front by Savannah Marshall.
Yeah, she stayed there. It was her biggest victory. She loved it. It was like, I beat who everybody said was the best. They were saying I was the best at 17. So when she beat me, that was her moment. And I'm from America. I'm the best. And Americans always reign in boxing. And here she is. She beat the Americans. So she was just floating. And then she won a world championship that year, but she stayed there. Me, as soon as I got home, I was so mad. I'm like, how did I lose? And I watched the fight, and I said I didn't lose, but what happened in the fight? And I just remember me being honest with myself. I'm like, you got tired. I remember chasing somebody who was running, and I'm like, but when we got done, my legs were burning like I just finished running sprints. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna train so hard now that my legs never start burning. My arms don't get tired. My neck, nothing. I just built myself into a machine over those 3 months leading to the Olympics and left it there. Everybody was saying like, all tall girls can beat Claressa Shields. It doesn't matter. She's a great fighter, but any girl that's tall can beat her. But I just left it there and let everybody talk, and I know that I can beat any style in boxing. You a boxer, brawler, tall, power puncher.
You got it.
You're not going to be able to beat me.
But you just said something very important. And Mr. Bill is an expert at that. You got to own it and keep it real.
Yep.
And now I'm going to ask you as a father. You know, I've always had this personally as an analyst, and obviously watching everything from the stands. That relationship father-son in boxing and trainer-son is a very complicated one because you have to wear both hats as a trainer and as a father while your son is basically putting his life on the line. And when you keep it real with your son, there's that fine line between hurting his feelings and stomping on his dreams, or nurturing something that needs to be cut down before it comes up again. How do you do that dance?
Well, you do. There's no dance to it. You love him so much that you keep it real, and you keep it so real that he knows that you're sensitizing it. Like, you're not necessarily, you know, it's things that happen in the ring that I won't talk about with him until camp.
Good.
But I'll talk to my friends, or I might see Claressa and we talk about, oh, he did a great job, and oh, if he would have did this, but I won't violate the time with him just because I'm his dad and the coach shows up, so to speak, you know? I go over to his house and we have our relationship, father and son, and I leave the coach
till you go back to camp.
Till we go to the gym, you know what I'm saying? And then I think that's the way to separate it. And with him, it's a roller coaster of things to do.
Yes, I can imagine, because I'm dealing with two young adults with a full life, with the weight of a country, with the weight of championships on their shoulders.
So I believe that they should not only receive criticism, but they should receive acclaim as well.
Of course.
And I can only hope that my daughter can be what you are when she grows up. She's 8 years old. And this is not just a champion, she's a queen. She's a superwoman. She's doing things not only inside the ring and outside the ring that she should be applauded for. And it's an underappreciated thing. She also comes from what, Flint?
Flint, Michigan.
Flint? Who else comes from Flint?
Floyd comes from Grand Rapids, but Andre Anthony Durrell comes from Flint.
And you know what's special about her story is that she dug herself out of the trenches with nobody's help.
Yeah, all by herself.
And she's a queen. You know
absolutely.
what I mean? She's a queen. If it was a guy, he would be a king, and he got it out the mud.
Yep.
So, you know what I mean? Her story.
I totally agree. And for those that perhaps don't know this, I am going to take this moment to recognize the queen that you are outside of the ring.
Oh, thank you.
Claressa has made it her personal commitment to her community to make sure that they have clear water, that the young people get a chance to have good, clean water. And for those that don't know what's going on, this has been going on for years. The waste, the damage to that whole area, the nature, everything has been affected by the lack of drinkable water. And you've made this your commitment. That's your sole commitment. How do you keep feeding that fire? Because it's easy to feed the warrior fire.
Right.
And you get back in the ring, you know exactly what you need to do.
And how can we help too? Because
Yes.
this is something that I didn't know what you're doing. Do you have an organization or something to follow? Or
Yeah, I have. So up in Flint, the water has been dirty for, I want to say 7-8 years now. I wear my hair blue to bring the water crisis to that. Like, that's the water crisis awareness.
I didn't know that.
And I told my city of Flint that I will wear my hair blue till we got clean water. So I'm still wearing it blue for every fight. And I have the Claressa Shield, the Shields Community Outreach, which it's my boxing program. We giving out water and turkeys and Thanksgiving and Christmas giveaways, and we're trying to start doing something like weekly where we can give out water, because right now people still can't drink the water. still can't
Think
cook
about
with
it.
the
You
water.
can't brush your teeth. You open your faucet, you can't brush your teeth.
Yeah, and I don't, and it's like a thin line because it's like the mayor and everybody is saying that they're fixing the water or they're giving out people these checks who got dirty water. It's
like that's gonna fix it.
It's like, no, you have to fix the pipes. That's exactly what it is. So I don't know what the city is doing about that, but I'm just doing my part as in anybody who want to donate water to Flint, you want to send pallets or whatever, we will issue out the water. We can do it at my church, do it at my fiance's gym, but we can just gather up all the pallets of water and give it out to families. And there's people in Flint that do that, but a lot of people in Flint got five kids, so you're giving them two cases of water.
That's not gonna cut
We
it.
definitely want to support
That's
Queen.
not
We
enough.
definitely. I'm happy to hear that that's
Yeah.
something that you're passionate about. It highlights what I've already heard, but it's almost like I heard that it was a problem with the water, and then I stopped hearing about it in the media, and I thought that it had been solved. I didn't know.
But
it
that's
was
typical
still,
media. Once
I didn't know.
It once the story dies, it doesn't disappear.
Yes.
It's just the story in the media died, but the problem is still there.
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
there's like 5 cities in America that don't got clean water.
With a lot of the fracking systems and a lot of there's so many states that have been affected with contamination, and I don't want to take this into a sad note because this is a great podcast and we're here to celebrate. But let's take this opportunity to create awareness.
Yeah.
Just because you don't hear about it, it doesn't mean it does not exist.
For sure.
Exactly. But now just to change directions a little bit. That's why she's the queen.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
the queen and our queens and our kings are not just built in a gym or in a square circle. It's
Yes.
actually built by character.
Yes.
And that's
Yes,
the one
ma'am.
thing that's actually transcends
Yes, ma'am.
boxing. So when we talk about a young man that decides to go all the way to a completely different continent, fight 19 hours, and put it all on the line. And
Jesus, 19
hours.
Oh my
Exactly.
God.
Right.
And he didn't do it once, he did it twice in the same year.
Yes.
And obviously, that first experience must have been joyful.
Yes.
But the second experience, how was the taste of victory in the second time?
It was something that obviously we have the confidence in us that we were going to go the second time. The second time wasn't a time that we necessarily had to go, but we did have to go because we had to honor the agreement that he offered Teofimo Lopez when he beat Teofimo Lopez. He said, "Hey man, in the ring," he said, "we can do it again." And Teofimo Lopez didn't oblige him. So when we did the agreement, that's what was part of the agreement, was going back down there and doing it again. And that's what we did.
You went all the way to England, and you understand what it is to have a whole crowd against you. As you were walking out, what was going through your head?
Well, I did my dance first.
Yes, and I know this.
Because dancing makes me relax, so it's like, I think I can't get nervous for a fight because I want to fight. That's something I love about myself when it come to boxing. It's like people get nervous or they get scared, and it's like me, I'm like, I want to fight you. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to have a war. I want you to cut me. This is what I want. I want to cut you. This is what I want. So I don't get nervous in that aspect. But walking out in London and 20,000 fans, I'm used to being screamed out everywhere I go and hearing them roar for me. To be booed out, I just remember feeling like, oh, I'm about to hurt so many hearts today. But I felt like Apollo Creed, though. I had on the USA. I came out dancing. And I just remember when I was watching the film back, when I hit my gloves, that's when I was looking at myself. I'm like, that's when I knew right there that I wasn't for no games. Like, that's the look. Like, that's where the switch happened right there. When I hit my gloves together, walked into the ring, and then I took a deep breath, I seen it there. I said, yeah, I was already locked in. Once I got in the ring and I told my coach, unzip me.
I'm ready.
Take it off. I'm ready. He's like, wait, hold on, Coach. GT, take it off. I'm ready. Like, he just seemed like, because
the sense of urgency.
Right.
It didn't matter to me getting booed out, because I already had decided that this was my Rocky movie right here. This was the real Rocky, Rocky, whatever you want to call it, because they booed him when he fought Apollo Creed.
I'm going to call it, how about the Clarissa moment? We don't need to name it another guy. It's the Clarissa moment.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It just felt like Well, what I was comparing it to was just like when Rocky got booed out against Apollo Creed in Russia. Well, not Apollo Creed, but Drago.
Yeah.
Right? And he got booed out. And then after the fight, as the rounds went on, the crowd started cheering for Rocky. And that's what I felt. I think by the third round, I didn't hear, oh, Savannah Marshall.
What did you hear? What did you hear?
I heard, "Whoa." Champ. They was all like, "Savannah, do something."
Hey,
Peter was screaming too. Peter Fury, "Come on, Savannah, land it."
Isn't that funny?
Crazy.
But isn't that funny? But also amazing how their fans, because it was ferocious, Cambosos, you know what I mean?
And then at the end?
And then at the end, it was they were quiet and very much supportive of Devin, you know, and to take. That's why I really believe that Devin is the fighter of the year, because he didn't just, he went into at 23 years old. And now we know how, I don't know.
Young,
very
you know
young.
what I mean?
He's 23 right now?
23 right now.
He's a baby.
Right. And to have 2 fights in Australia under the bright lights, right? To not fold, to come back and know that they've criticized that he only has a jab. And then to come back in throwing that right hand, throwing that right hand. And it's something that we worked on in the gym. We worked on the gym with the right hand, only to perform it under the lights for the southpaw in Lomachenko. Have somebody seen him?
We'll
or anybody
look
looking for him?
We'll be looking for him.
Uh-huh.
But
Okay.
this is the one thing that
No, but for it to be 23 and to still be hunting, right? He sent me with one job is to see what's happening with the Loma stuff. Because we might
conquer.
Well, he's still hungry, right?
Why wouldn't he be hungry?
Well, a 23-year-old guy with all the belts, right? He's getting paid. He's been getting paid, right? Normally finds other things to do other than to go back to the gym.
Which,
and I'm so proud of him and what he
again,
represents.
I go back to my initial statement. The diligence, the dedication, the commitment.
Right.
So I don't think there will be a time that Devin would say, "Oh, I had enough."
You think he's fighter of the year?
He could be, easily. Yeah.
And
we still have a couple more fights to go, but at this point in time, just the fact that he went all the way to Australia, came back, he has my support 100% because he did it once and he did it twice. But another thing that I want to bring to attention was the fact that, like you said, the stadium went quiet, but then there was standing ovation. Everybody applauded after the result was given out. And in your case, you saw it. They went from Savannah Marshall to poor Savannah Marshall, because I was there. I was in the stands.
Jesus Christ.
And the standing ovation, because there were 4 warriors fighting, giving the fans a show. Mm-hmm. We have to be thankful. And I am so glad that we have educated audience that recognizes and acknowledges not only what happened in however many rounds the fight went, be it 10 or 12, but the fact that there was so much sacrifice, work, indulgences that at young age you're supposed to take. These young men and women did it for months, for years, a whole lifetime. And that was the product of that. Like I was talking to Xander, a lot of times it takes years for us to see these results at 23, at 21. But the seed was planted many years ago.
Yes.
And once it sprouts, it shoots up 10 feet in 3 months.
Absolutely.
And this is exactly where we're at. So this is not an overnight success.
I know I look young, but I'm 27.
Mama, you're young.
She said 21.
No. When you started at 21, back in the day, you were still part of the Olympic team.
Yeah, I was 20. Yep.
20.
I turned
pro.
Turned pro when I was 21, I believe. Yeah, I think I was 21.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it was not an overnight success.
Yeah, but what she's accomplished, I mean, because 2-time undisputed.
3 now.
3 by 27.
Exactly. And 23, 27.
Queen, you have a record that will never be broken. How about that?
I know. You know what? I'm trying to think like what. I think what I was gonna say was when you said that Devin Haney is still he's still hungry. That's because he's still listening to the doubters a little bit. But that's good though. They saying, oh yeah, he undisputed, but he beat George Kambosos, who wasn't supposed to beat Teofimo Lopez.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
That's why he won't Lomachenko. That's why he want to fight Shakur. That's why he want to fight these guys, because he's like, I want to prove to y'all that y'all been saying all this stuff, but really at the end of the day, I'm that guy.
Is that something that you, as a fighter, fuels you more than anything else? The money, the lifestyle, the opportunity to provide for your family.
Mm-hmm.
Does it supersede what you hear the people saying that really drives you? Which one drives you more?
It's really a self-satisfaction thing. It's not about like what you think. It's more about like what I think about myself, and it's certain things that I gotta prove to myself.
Okay.
So it's like, if I was Savannah Marshall, everybody was like, oh, you need it. I didn't need that fight because one, we fought in the amateurs. She may have won, but look what I've done in the pros. I'm a 13-time world champ versus her being a 1-time world champ. I don't need her, but the fact that they kept saying, oh, she's the one to beat me, it just drove me and Kemp to be like, she ain't got it, but since y'all want me to show y'all she ain't got it, it motivated me to a whole different level where I was like, then I got the opportunity to come here and fight in London and make all this noise, 20,000 fans, over 6 million views worldwide. I'm there. I live for those moments, but it was like just the fact, and then they started saying she can knock me out. Oh, it really drove me here like, oh my God, the girl can't even beat me, but now y'all saying she can knock, it just made me feel so disrespected in my skills, in my hard work, and it was like, I don't care what happens. Me and you, we gotta get in there and we gotta solve
Duke it out.
There's no other way. All the trash talk was mental stuff.
So can you just tell us that moment right before the announcement when you were listening, you knew that you had won, but you had a different emotion once you heard your name.
You were jumping.
Right before the announcement, what were you thinking? And then what were you thinking right after your name was called?
I was really listening for the score because I love to dominate.
Okay.
I'm just like, I'm trying to see if they gonna give me the score I think that I got, because I think Savannah Marshall won 2 rounds out of 10.
So you never was worried though. It's not a worry. No, okay.
But then they say in the news, which I knew that they were going to say that. But then I heard the crowd start clapping. I'm like, I know that they ain't clapping for me. So what? So I'm starting listening. I'm like, it was like he was dragging a thing. So I look back at him, I'm like, like black people feel like if we squint our eyes, we can hear better. So that's why I squinted. So I squinted my eyes and was like, what is he saying? Because I heard 96, 94 Shields, and then it said, and then we had. I was just listening like, what? Then he's like 97, 94, all in favor of, and I'm just like, the quote, Clarissa. I was like, she was jumping. I remember this. I think I had like a Holy Ghost feeling or something, because it was like, I've been waiting 10 years to shut this girl up and shut all of them up. I was
swear
going crazy.
I had it at home. I can feel it just now, just seeing you, because it was just touching. It was a beautiful.
It was an out of body experience.
Yeah.
I don't even think I don't even remember what I said after. I just remember like they were asking me questions and I was just crying like.
It was so exciting. Yeah. And you know, just to add to the comment of her making history and the type of queen that she is, you know, she just rattled the whole lot of numbers as in viewers and da-da-da-da. So I'm going to backtrack. I'm going to take you guys back. Do you remember when Ronda Rousey was the first woman to ever go into MMA and her pay-per-views made, you know, serious numbers?
Since the queen came on board, I forgot about everybody else.
Thank you. But let me. This is a control reset. This is a reset moment in boxing, period.
Okay.
Because you literally just rattled off a whole lot of numbers that I want to slow down just a tad bit. You just had 2.1 in the first viewership, and then it added up to 6 million worldwide. Mm-hmm. It was the highest pay-per-view this year. Yes. And it was an all-female card.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she was the main event.
Right.
I am getting goosebumps only because not only are we before boxing royalty, we are in history-making moments.
Yes.
And she lived it firsthand. And it's a pleasure and an honor to have you and be able to relive this. Again, the magnitude of the moment, and it boils down to a score. But that's what it was.
And you gotta give. See, that's the thing that I've been saying for years. Sky Sports and Boxer did it the right way. It was 2 big cards. Great, 2 of the fights you wanted to see: Baumgartner versus Mayer, me versus Marshall. But they put so much promotion behind us. We had the one-on-one sit-downs. We had the press conferences. We had the back and forth, and they just starting stuff on social media, getting my tweets and her tweets, whatever. But the build-up was crazy, and it was like all these people that were saying like women's boxing don't got fans, women's boxing can't do numbers. They never even given us a fair chance, especially in America. Like for America, they had the best woman fighter in the world, to not be on board, to letting me fight at the T-Mobile Arena, to not giving me a chance to show you that I got 25,000 fans that will come and see me. We're not even given that opportunity, but Sky Sports gave us that opportunity in Boxer, and then boom, here we are showing them that, yeah, you had Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor, but also you had the little black girl from Flint, Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall, do 20,000 fans and 6 million worldwide. That's more than what any woman fight was ever watched. So it's when like America can finally get it in their head that women's boxing is great when you make the best fights. You promote them the same. If you want to promote a man fight for 3 months, promote the women boxing match for 3 months.
So do we got GWOAT Promotions?
There you go. I can see it coming. I can see it.
I know Devin has Devin Haney Promotions. He has 2 fighters. Amari Jones, an undefeated fighter. He's like 8-0, and then Shamar Canal that's 2-0. But I would assume that because you're the pioneer for women and as well as men. Do you plan on having a card, having fighters signed to you?
Yeah,
female fighters.
We have T-Rex Promotions getting done, but I haven't got everything rolling yet. And
a step at a time.
I actually can talk to you more about it because I don't like jumping in stuff that I don't know information about, or somebody who know more than me about it, who've done it. So I would love to talk to you and start getting it on.
You better include me. I'm just saying, don't leave me out of the deal.
You're included too.
You know what?
Definitely.
She said something very important that happens obviously because of the lack of support in terms of showcasing the ladies' skills to put the best against the best. But one of the biggest criticism in men's boxing is the fact that there's so many people involved in the making and shaking of the fights that we don't get a chance to see the best against the best.
I don't believe that.
I don't either. I don't believe that either. That's just like she said.
It's a give and take. It's either you want to fight or you don't.
Yeah, exactly.
In boxing, you got all these male egos and stuff like that.
But that's the problem.
Devin let his ego go and sign everything to make sure he can become undisputed because he knew he could beat George Kambosos. Some of these guys gotta listen. It's a reward after the win. It's
not before.
Yeah, it's a reward after. Like, yeah, you want to sign for this and that, but it's like at the end of the day, it's either. If you really want to fight somebody,
just do it.
I would have fought Savannah Marshall for $1. Put this girl in front of me so I can show y'all that I'm better. Like,
but we're not gonna say that in public.
But see, when you have fighters like,
figures, but I'm saying like still, I want to fight her that bad that I wasn't gonna let anything small get in the way of not making the fight happen.
So the onus falls on whom at this point in time?
What she's really saying is fighters like Clarissa and like Devin is there's no politics because they'll fight anybody. There's no politics in it. It's that they are who they are. And a lot of times they're downplayed, right? These are 2 fighters that are totally dedicated to the sport. No drinking, no smoking, no anything like that. Always hard work, always in the gym. And it's no secret why they have all the titles that they have, right? And at the ages, ironically,
so
Clarissa
young.
was getting it. Yeah, she was getting it the same way Devin is when he was 23. So, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's
and that's why you're here on a mission, looking for that next opportunity to showcase the best versus the best.
Yeah, well, I work for Devin Haney Promotions, it's his company, and that's what I was sent to do. I was coming to do business at the first convention after he's had all the titles, and see who wants to be his mandatory.
Wow! See, that's another thing. Today was the day of the rankings of the positionings of from the first to the last, and the mandatories. And this is the one thing that makes anybody great. When it doesn't matter how many accolades, how many rewards, how many belts. you're still hungry, you're still looking for that other challenge.
Yeah.
That's her. That's the queen. See, that's the queen.
Yeah.
You know, and a sport that's traditionally dominated by men, that's so easy to get the names of King this or TBE or you know, the greatest. You have the living GOAT right here that's still hungry, still out, you know, trailblazing, looking, you know, for that next challenge. You know what I mean? And you have to commend her for that. I didn't even know that I was going to run into her. So thank you, for blessing me with your presence. Blessing me with the presence, Queen.
Amen.
Devin is going to love it. He's going to love that,
Listen,
I got a chance.
My dad is a diehard fan of me.
Yeah.
But he's not like, I wish it could be like a relationship like how you and Devin did. Like when you was over there, you was like, I'm here now. I'm tired of you messing with my son. I was just like, I just love it because I'm like, because it's like Devin Haney is a man, but then he got this other man behind him. Like, yeah, I wish you would. And it's like I just love that because in my circle, it's really. I usually have women do that for me.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
yes,
So it's
yes,
just like, but still, like me and my dad, he the one signed me up for boxing, and I just wish that he could just be there because man, he think he be my manager and stuff, but that ain't it. But it's like I just love like just the dynamic of like. Even when y'all be sitting there yelling and stuff, like Devin don't get irritated. He just be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna let my dad and them talk all this stuff, and I'm gonna sit here and look at this dude and beat him up."
You know, I
it's
haven't
just
been
great.
in there. I haven't been in the business long enough that I'll let Devin do something that doesn't sit right with me. You know, if we're in the gym and we're working, and a lot of people say, sometimes they're like, he's undisputed and you're still saying hold up, wait in the middle of something. You know what I mean? And I think that's the love and passion I have in me to want to see him better. You know what I'm saying? And he knows that. He knows that fire, it comes from a good place. You know what I mean? And like I say, when we're in the gym, it's all business, as a trainer. And then once we're outside the gym, then I go back, to being his pops and we just relax,
And a wonderful role model that you are.
Yeah,
and it's awesome to see the big Papa Bear supporting the cub, coming up the ranks.
That's another new one. I like that one. I like that. Big Papa Bear.
Big
I like
Papa Bear.
that.
And always, I feel blessed because I had promised when we started this podcast that I was going to be surrounded by boxing royalty, and this is how we close the week with two greats. But I said it from day one.
Yes.
So I thank you dearly for you coming
Thank you.
and giving me your time.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that you came back because I knew that I'm taking time away because we're going to have the gala where a lot of stuff will be happening. They're going to be awarded with the very much deserved recognition. And with this, I thank you again.
Thank you.
I thank you again.
Thank you, Queen.
It's a pleasure.
All right.
And with this, we say goodbye from San Juan, Puerto Rico,
Adios.
from the 35th annual convention of the WBO, commemorating and recognizing the ladies in boxing and obviously the gentlemen that make everything so much easier for us ladies.
I'm here supporting the ladies as well. Thank you.
Thank you. So I bid you all adieu. So be good or be good at it, and until next time.
Thank you.